Hey Nick, how are you? Good
Good.
afternoon.
Yes. Nice to
Well,
see you.
welcome. Yeah, it's good to see you as well. And welcome everyone to this special edition of LinkedIn Live. Um, I'm Mike DePrisco, IMA's president and CEO. And joining me today is Nick Araco, the CEO and president of Achieve Next and the CFO Alliance. And very much looking forward to having this conversation today, Nick. I know you're in New York City.
I am.
I'm in Montvale, New Jersey, at the headquarters of IMA. Before we jump into our topic today, Nick, maybe you can just introduce yourself, tell people a little bit about you and your background.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Mike. And I'm so pleased to be here. This will be the first in a series of conversations that we have together. As Mike mentioned, I'm the CEO and founder of the CFO Alliance, which is the largest peer network for accounting and finance leaders from emerging and mid-market enterprises across the US and now expanding globally, given our partnership with IMA. We bring finance leaders together for connections, learning and development, and relationship building and exchange. And so, Mike, you and I have a lot to talk about as it relates to the pathways forward for CFOs
Yeah,
and accounting and finance leaders.
absolutely. And we should dive right in and just quickly background. I've been IMA's president and CEO about 19 months now. I've worked in professional associations and higher education for over 30 years and really have dedicated my career to helping individuals achieve their personal and professional career goals. So, Nick, let's jump right in
Go.
um, because we did recently, about a month ago, give or take, announced that strategic partnership between our
Yes.
two organizations, IMA and the CFO Alliance. And maybe you can share a little bit about why you made the decision, why you thought this was a good idea, and then I'll do the same, but I'll let you go first.
Yeah, Mike, I'm so blessed to spend my days online and offline gathering the current seated finance leaders. 80% of them have that title CFO, and the other 20% have some leadership role in some real visible capacity. I'm so blessed to spend time one on one in small groups talking about the expanding role, opportunities, and responsibilities that not only come for them, the seated CFO, but for the accounting and
Mhm.
finance teams that they build and they lead. And we spend a lot of time, doesn't matter if we're talking about enterprise growth strategy or increasingly complex technology stacks or cybersecurity or the customer relationship, all those topics, we end up talking about people. And when you unpack it a bit further, they have a lot of questions about how to lead their teams and themselves and their career paths in this day and age, and also how to identify and create career opportunities for the teams that they lead that embrace all of the amazing competency that comes with accounting. They feel like
Right.
it's gotten a bad name and a bad rep in some ways.
Yes, we hear quite a bit about that as well, and yeah, well, I'm excited about our partnership. I think we are aligned around a lot of unique opportunities that we see in the market. I think we share common values, our organizations in supporting people
Yes.
and really helping people deliver value for their organizations, for the people they serve, for the customers that come to them looking for solutions to their everyday problems. And you're about community, we're about community.
Yeah.
um, and it just to me made a whole lot of sense for us to join forces and to find unique ways where we can continue to create new value for our communities and create new opportunities for people to engage, to learn, to grow, and to develop. So we're this is just the beginning, right? This is
Yeah.
we're just
This is
getting
the
started.
kickoff, Mike. You know,
This
it's
is
like, yeah, but we're seeing it in real time. Like I'm here in New York with not only the CFO Alliance members, but with IMA part of a finance and accounting technology expo, and I just came from the Javits Center, and there's a buzz, and there are members of IMA and the CFO Alliance already talking about collaboration, exchange, relationship building, the betterment of today, the betterment of tomorrow. And they must sense our passion, Mike, because it's
Yeah.
translating already, even in its earliest days.
Yeah, no, that's good, and you certainly no one's going to accuse you, Nick, of not having passion. So, uh, well, let's why don't we segue because we could talk all day about our partnership, but let's
Yeah.
segue to our topic today because we
Yes.
we have some, I think, important meaty stuff to talk about, particularly around the area of driving personal and team growth. This is top of mind. Every organization leader, every finance executive, a senior leader I speak to, one of the top three things they tell me that's top of mind or keeps them up is not at night is their people. How to find
Yes.
them, how to develop them, how to grow them, how to optimize value for their organization. So we hear a lot about this. We hear a lot about change and disruption in the market and how it's having an impact on organizations and requiring organizations to be resilient and to think differently, whether it's emerging technology, whether it's innovation, competition, an election,
Yeah.
geopolitical issues, right? All
Yeah.
kinds of things. So, what are you hearing from CFOs within your community about this, and how are they responding to this challenge that of being resilient?
Yeah, well, Mike, there's no denying that the last 5 years have challenged both current and future accounting and finance leaders to look at themselves and their effectiveness in the way that they lead by example in their respected roles and careers. The pandemic tested all of us, it tested all of our mettle and resiliency. And we went from this period of all in it together to where are we? And so the first startling moment in 2024 was when we released our 2024 CFO sentiment survey, and almost half of our members said that they intended to evaluate a job or career change. And we went, time out. Oh my goodness, how and why is that happening? And a lot of that was driven by fatigue. A lot of that
Mhm.
was driven by a sense of needing to lean into an idea of I can't continue to go at this alone, which really
Yeah.
does empower our organizations. But we
Mhm.
called a timeout and said, let's evaluate and determine why. And I think the on the plus side, Mike, there's no denying that the impact zone for accounting and finance continues to go wide and deep. So there's the plus.
Yeah.
These leaders are feeling the opportunity side of the equation. But with that opportunity comes great responsibility and a sense of limitation that concerns them.
Mhm.
Limitation based on technical capabilities, about resistance to change and culture, about
Yep.
increasingly complex technology stacks, and an overall fatigue around change management in general that lends itself to saying, is it me? Is it us? Or is it them in this whole equation?
That's right. And certainly all those things are true. In fact, what we see on our side, we like the CFO Alliance also conduct research, and we had a talent and retention study that we released earlier in the year, and it had a lot of great insights, of course. But to your point, about a third of our respondents, and our respondents were primarily practitioners
Mm-hmm.
below the C suite level, right? About a third um, anticipated leaving their role,
Yeah.
right, in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form, and whether it was a career change or just stepping out or doing something different because of the many challenges that you encountered. So that this whole idea of being resilient I think really gets to the heart of what many organizations are striving for. I mean, even at IMA, we're going through a lot of change ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And many organizations are doing the same thing. They're trying to become more and more a digital first organization, a customer led organization to be responsive, right, to
Yes.
what they're seeing in the market, what they're stakeholders or members are looking for. So it's requiring accounting and finance professionals to kind of get outside their comfort zone, lean in to some innovation, be comfortable with some risk, to really take more of a test and learn approach to how we do things, right? Because this whole notion of big bang, build it, put it out there, and people will come. I think we've learned that doesn't work anymore.
No, but Mike, I will tell you, I feel like that our organizations can deliver and reinforce a very clear message to the accounting and finance professionals and leaders of today. There's no denying that in each of them, that they embrace intellectual curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
critical thinking,
Yep.
a desire to understand basis as a both quantifiable and qualifiable term. Now, if we can just help coach, counsel, and develop their communication skills to marry their competency in those respective areas, the leadership opportunities, the career pathways can be much more broad,
Yeah.
much more like a constellation framework than a hierarchical ladder system.
Yeah. Career lattice, right? We like
Yes,
to talk about
I
career
do.
lattice
I
versus
do.
a career ladder. You should talk more about that. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
since I met you, you've been talking about that, and I really think that you're spot on with that notion of how people think about their careers today. The old career ladder, climb the ladder one rung at a time, is now more of a lattice, right?
It is. It is, Mike. I was a student member of IMA way back when, and I naturally embraced the learning and development around management accounting and related undergraduate coursework. I actually brought that a passion into law school, and
Hmm.
a lot of the law-related classes were in accounting and business and ERISA and all things that had a heavy tie towards my analytical skills and desire. And I wake up now in the 2020s and I'm frustrated and a bit upset that the accounting profession at large has a reputation issue and
Yeah.
a brand issue because I truly must credit my ongoing lifelong learning and development around accounting and finance as a gateway leadership skill for me now as a CEO.
That's right.
Why? I try to embrace an ask, tell model with every interaction I have. I think most accounting and finance professionals would be more comfortable with that type of communication model. Let me ask you two questions before I say anything. And so I feel like the foundation is there. Somehow we let the brand and reputation around this profession and this competency overcome the real value and shield or cloud what you can do with it. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I haven't met a CFO Alliance member that doesn't respect the principles and foundations and competencies of accounting, whether or not they grew up in it or not.
That's right. The language of business. Now you're really heating
Yes.
up there, Nick. You're
Yeah,
heating
I
up. The
am.
passion's coming through. No, the language of business, for sure. We talk about it all the time, and I think as you know, we've been doing a lot in the area of working with organizations. We just made available a corporate membership program. Obviously, the CFO Alliance is a big part of that,
Yes.
and the notion is that hey, we know there's a lot going on in organizations, that accounting and finance, oftentimes that acumen sits at the hub of how organizations get stuff done, how they think about performance, how they monitor risk, how they deliver value, right? And there's so many dynamic, awesome opportunities out there where you can apply accounting and finance. And it's so critical. And, for those that say, oh, accounting's dying and this and that, I, I think it's short sighted, because I think it's
Totally.
changing. It's totally
Yeah.
changing. It's
Yes.
evolving, but it's evolving into higher level thinking, critical thinking, as you said, data analysis, interpretation, and my favorite, storytelling, right?
Yeah.
Storytelling. I say that all the
Yeah.
time to the accounting and finance people we speak to. You have to learn how to be a good storyteller.
Mike, you had the opportunity to lean into our current roundtable series that we've been taking across the
Yeah.
US and around the globe via the web, but a lot in person in the US, talking about 2025 budgeting and planning efforts. And Mike,
Yeah.
you heard it firsthand. Without a solid, trusted, accurate management and related accounting function, none of these CFOs and finance team have any ability or interest or business trying to provide budgeting, planning, and FP&A as a competency without it.
That's right.
They'll all
That's right.
say that. I think that where IMA and the accounting profession has a real opportunity is that when I started the CFO Alliance, Mike, 95% of the CFO Alliance members grew up in accounting. Fast forward to 2024, soon to be 2025,
Yep.
55% of my members grew up in accounting. 100% of them respect accounting. And so what that means is they want to build high-performing teams with competencies, capabilities, culture, and technology around
Hmm.
individuals that want to embrace that responsibility and that effort. So I think it could be empowering. I think some of that resistance was driven by the seated CFO who said, I need to graduate from accounting. And
Hmm.
instead, today's CFO saying, without the accounting, we can't do what we're capable of doing.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you. I think that's a great segue to capabilities, right?
Yeah.
Because we spend a lot of time talking about this. What are the capabilities that today's accounting and finance professionals really need to focus on, to hone, to think about? I've heard this question asked in a number of ways, but I'll just put it out in simple terms to you, Nick. IQ or EQ? What's more important today?
Uh, wow. I mean, I'm not allowed to answer both because I am a former litigator. So I'm going to say EQ, but I am not going to deny the need for investment around IQ. And I'm going to go a bit harder on the IQ side beyond a very rich and deep understanding of the technical areas of accounting,
Hmm.
data science, data analytics, and ability to embrace data driven decision making coupled with accounting competency is extremely dangerous in a really good way. And I see dangers with a smile, not
Right.
as a
Right.
threat. So
Superpower.
it's an EQ powered by an IQ,
Yeah. I like
right?
that. EQ
Yeah.
powered by IQ. It's a
Yeah.
superpower.
Yeah.
It's not only table stakes, but it can be an accelerant for sure
Yes.
from a career
Yeah.
perspective, right? To be able to harness those technical capabilities together with an ability to communicate, to lead, to think um, uh, through a lens of innovation,
Yes.
to tell stories, as we said. But many leaders, when they're put in the seat and they have teams that they're trying to develop and they know what the challenges are, they fall a little short in
Yeah.
that vision, bringing that vision to reality, that vision of what the optimal team is and the capabilities that are really needed. And leaders, I think, fall short in nurturing that among their teams. What advice would you give? What are some of the reasons why you think they fall
I,
short?
I,
Number
I
one, and
think
what
that
advice would you give?
I think that we forget that we as human beings all have natural preferences in the way that we prefer to receive information, process that information, and communicate information. Most
Yeah.
individuals who go naturally and embrace accounting and finance are driven by facts, figures, and numbers, by
Hmm.
process orientation, wanting to understand and question how. But now we need them to embrace the fact that there's a whole other side of the brain that's driven by feeling, connection, relationship, culture, and another part that's driven by what have we not considered? How can
Hmm.
we get more creative? God, the term creative accounting, we think, oh my gosh, never put the two together. But
Right.
just understand that we've seen that impact zone of accounting and finance go wide and deep, but there are people on the other side. We need to communicate, understand that we need to communicate in their language as well.
Yeah.
Simply stated, Mike, not everyone should get a formula or a spreadsheet or a quantifiable answer when they may prefer to receive a visual, an image, or a qualifiable basis behind a decision,
So
right?
it's really understanding how best to engage your team, what motivates them, what makes them tick.
Yes.
I know there's a lot out there about multi-generational workforce and
Yeah.
some of the challenges, right, that and opportunities, quite frankly, that creates for today's leader in terms of how they engage those people, how they motivate those people, how they support those people, and it really starts from knowing really what your people are looking for out of a career,
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you need to ask them, but you
Yeah,
also need to lead them, right? We don't want
yeah,
to lead them away from accounting. We want to lead them into accounting so that they understand that this becomes a source for greater opportunities, stronger relationships, which then lend themselves to an ability to apply what they do in a broader setting. Maybe marry that application of what they do to an area of passion or interest
mhm.
that we may not know about as leaders,
That's right. That's right.
right?
So, but there's another side of that coin, and you oftentimes talk about will and skill, will
Yes.
and skill.
Yeah.
And, you got a bunch of them in your back pocket, will and skill, career lattice, career ladder. But talk a little bit about will and skill, because I do
Yeah.
think that this whole notion of development and capabilities and motivation, it works both ways, right?
Yeah. So I love to apply a formula to will and skill because I want them together.
Yeah.
But as a leader, if I'm trying to determine how and where I invest in my talents development in 2025 and my own development in 2025, centered around the application of will and skill. I
Hmm.
think, and I'm going to use another acronym. I think GPS. I think goals, passion, struggles. I think goals and struggles can tie to skill. The enterprise has a goal. The team has a goal. The function has a goal. The individual has a goal around their development. Let's
That's
ask
right.
and get it out. The S is a struggle. The enterprise needs this to get done.
That's
The
right.
team needs to do this. The struggle is someone can and should need to figure out how we do this better, faster, smarter. But we can't forget, there's your GNS, Mike. But we
Yeah.
always forget the P part, the
Yep.
passion.
Yeah.
And there's where we had to involve and show them what's in it for them. And we
Hmm.
can't know what's in it for them unless we ask them what they want.
That's right.
What do they want out of it?
Yeah.
And we may have to lead them towards what they can get out of it. They may not know what reward looks like, what opportunity looks like. But I think we need to apply the G, the P, and the S to that process.
Yeah. Yeah, well said, well said, and I think that's where I think our synergies through our partnership come in. We're working with the individuals, the team members. You're working with the senior leaders, the CFOs, bringing those stakeholder groups together and creating some solutions to help them with their pain points is what we're after. Hey, last question
Yes.
um, before we wrap up here. One thing that the listeners can take away a positive step forward in the area of getting started with personal and team growth efforts in their organization. What advice would you give them? One piece of
I
advice.
start with however you do this as an individual, personally and professionally. We're heading into a time of natural reflection.
Hmm.
So I think the first thing you should do, whether or not you do that one to one or with someone you trust or a mentor or a coach, I wouldn't recommend you do it with someone who has a vested economic interest in your decision making
Right.
about the year ahead and how you invest.
Yeah.
But pick someone that knows you or do it on your own. Reflect upon your own GPS. Begin with you and not just begin with you to understand, lay out a plan and articulate that plan to your team members. Here's what I intend to do to advance my learning, my understanding, my relationship strength, my credibility, our reputation in 2025. And
Yeah.
pick one thing.
That's
Pick
right.
one thing because we have greater opportunity given partnerships like this. We have greater opportunity with technology enabling ways we can learn and develop, but we don't have more time in the day, Mike.
That's right. That's right.
No, that's the one thing we haven't been given.
No, not yet. We haven't figured that one out. We haven't cracked the
No.
code on that one. But you know what I like to say is, hey, when you start a new job, you generally create a 90-day plan. And what's the first thing that you look for in that 90-day plan? A quick win. A
Yeah.
quick win, and then you
Yeah.
build momentum from there. So my
Yeah.
one piece of advice is look for a quick win,
Yeah.
right? Don't try to boil the ocean with this. Commit to doing one or two or three things, quick wins, and from there, whether it's for yourself or for your team, you'll be surprised at the kind of momentum that you could create in this area. So,
Yeah, Mike,
hey
I
Nick,
love it because you and I picked a big, hairy, audacious goal behind our partnership. But at the end of the day, what we're putting together and what IMA has put together in terms of micro learning,
yes,
multimodal learning and development can
yep,
help enable that quick win, which actually helps strengthen relationships greatly.
that's right. Well,
Yeah.
well said. I'll leave it at that, Nick. I want to thank you for taking time out of your event to join us
Thank you.
from New York. I want to thank you for sharing your perspectives, your insights. For those that tuned in, thank you so much. This is recorded. We'll distribute it. You can listen to it again. Stay tuned for more coming from IMA and the CFO Alliance. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Nick.